Yo, what is up everyone? How was your weekend? Was it excellent because you nailed all of your predictions like I did? -1, I don't really want to talk about it. I mean, who else called the Wolverhampton-Everton game 2-2 like this guy? No one, I guarantee it. Or was it crap because the team you support sucked? Like say if you're a West Ham fan and you actually thought you had a chance this season because your team spent all this money, but then you saw the performance that they put out against Liverpool and now you know you have no reason to hope. Right, Spencer FC? Personally, I hope you guys had an excellent weekend, but let's check the rest of my list on the Weekend and Rewind, also known as Word. And first up is Good Weekend, Naby Keita. Because the new Liverpool midfielder who had the courage to wear Steven Gerrard's famous number 8 jersey this season, which has to be a ton of pressure, was the best player on the field for me in Liverpool's 4-0 ass kicking to West Ham. And I say this with all due respect to every other player on Liverpool because they all played pretty well, all things considered. But he stood out, especially when he would turn out of some pressure in midfield and run at the opposing defense, which actually helped set up the first goal. And he's just so good overall. I'm a big fan, as you can tell. So I feel for Captain Jordan Henderson, who didn't start, and actually, I don't think he'll be starting much this season if this is how Keita continues to perform. Also, I know it's only the first game, but can we say rest in peace to West Ham's hopes of maybe breaking into the top 6 this season? I know they spent a ton of money, and that's a positive, and they got a new, well-respected manager, and that's a positive too, but usually you see a spark of something that's like, okay, West Ham isn't there yet, or whatever team isn't there yet, but you can see that they can be something special. They just need a little bit of time to figure it all out. And that thought never hit my brain at any point during this game, so maybe that's being super harsh, but I'm just calling it like I see it. Bad weekend, Arsenal. Because like West Ham, they had a tough matchup in the first week, and again, like West Ham, they have a new manager and new players and a new system, and yeah. But you still want to see something of substance, something that proves that they are better than they were the year before, and Unai Emery, the first person not named Arsene Wenger to be in charge of the Gunners in over 20 years, well, he couldn't get shit right either. And here are my complaints. 1, why didn't he start Alexander Lacazette and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang at the same time? I just don't f***ing get it. He starts Aaron Ramsey or Henrik Mkhitaryan over Lacazette instead, when the only time Arsenal actually looked threatening on a consistent basis was when Lacazette finally stepped on the field as a sub. So Unai Emery better make that change when they play Chelsea next weekend if he wants to win. 2, why did he start an unproven teenager in the middle of midfield next to the undisciplined and unpredictable Granit Xhaka instead of Lucas Torreira, who was coming off a very good World Cup with Uruguay? Now don't get me wrong, I'm a Matteo Guendouzi fan. I think he did well in preseason, but meaningless preseason games are not the same as a proper Premier League game against the defending champions. And so Emery should have went with a more experienced player like Torreira partnered with Xhaka, even though we could probably argue Xhaka needs to take a seat on the bench, because I just don't think that Torreira would have gotten beaten so easy like Guendouzi did on Raheem Sterling's first goal. It's too easy. 3, why did he start Petr Cech in goal and also make him the captain? I mean, Unai, you made a wise purchase in the summer of Bernd Leno, who you bought to be Cech's replacement, so play him. So in summation, I'm just confused with Emery's selections, all right? However, I'm not confused by his counterpart Pep Guardiola's selections, who pushed all of the right buttons, as he normally does, which had his players performing well at a very early part of the season when they could have a bit of a letdown. And then, if only to show off, he had the benefit of bringing on Kevin De Bruyne, Leroy Sané, and Gabriel Jesus off the bench. And that doesn't seem fair. Good weekend, Leo Messi. Even though he didn't end up scoring in the Spanish Super Cup this weekend against Sevilla, he heavily influenced the result, as he does, as Barcelona came back from a goal down to win their first trophy of the season, which is the 33rd trophy of Messi's career with the club, which gives him more trophies at Barcelona than any other player, including Andres Iniesta, who has 32. And actually, speaking of Iniesta, did you see his goal this week for his Japanese club? His running between the lines and then his turn once he receives the ball are just so good. I love that guy, and you should find this goal of his if you haven't seen it already. In fact, I'll put it, the link in the description so you can see it. But you should have already seen it because it's epic. It's so good. And I don't even know what he's doing in Japan. He should be in Spain playing for Barcelona. And speaking of Barcelona, I want to give some love to Ousmane Dembele, who scored a rocket from outside the box at a relatively bad angle with his weak foot, which makes me wonder just how good he can be, because I don't think we're anywhere close to seeing the top of his potential yet. But question for you, is he a future Ballon d'Or winner? Does he have the qualities necessary to win that award? I'm not so sure yet. I'm going to emphasize yet. Hopefully one day, because I really enjoy his game. Bad weekend, the Bundesliga. Because with defending league champions Bayern Munich absolutely smashing Eintracht Frankfurt 5-0 in the German Super Cup, which also saw Bayern stud striker Robert Lewandowski notch a hat-trick to become the leading goal scorer in Super Cup history, it's just a sign that the German league is once again going to be a one-horse race where the only thing that we will have to decide on is on how many points Bayern is going to win the league by this season. Sadly, if the Bundesliga were more competitive, and for you diehards of the league, I'm sure you would argue that it is competitive in every other position in the table but first is all that matters. So if there were more teams vying for the trophy, then I guarantee that more people would want to watch the league, because I agree with you Bundesliga diehards, it is a great league to watch, but they gotta find a way to make it more compelling at the top. Good weekend, Timothy Waya. Yes, the American international and son of former World Player of the Year George Weah scored his first goal in league after he replaced Neymar in the 82nd minute and then stripped the Con goalkeeper 7 minutes later to put the cherry on top in PSG's 3-0 win, which means, if I'm doing my math correctly, since he's only 18 and his dad was a stud, I really feel like that's going to make him the first American to ever win a World Player of the Year award. And how is that for putting unnecessary pressure on him? Maybe my new Lord and Savior. But I can see the headline now. Everyone's favorite former U.S. men's national team player says Waya will win the Ballon d'Or one day. Also, Neymar scored the game winner and Gigi Buffon got a shutout, but that shouldn't come as a surprise because that's how those guys roll. Bad weekend, Jozy Altidore. After finally seeing the defending MLS Cup champions Toronto FC get out of their rut and start a positive run of games this season, they got 2 wins and a draw in their last 3. The U.S. international striker got a straight red card 10 minutes into his club's huge game at home against NYCFC after he just straight up kicked someone without the ball anywhere near either one of them, and that led to his team losing 3-2 and dropping all 3 of these valuable points, which completely halts any run that TFC thought they were going to go on, and which now puts them in some serious jeopardy of missing the playoffs after making it to back-to-back MLS Cup finals. Now, for all of you people keeping score at home, they're currently 7 points out of the last playoff spot with 11 games to go, so they have plenty of time to make up that difference, but given how they've been playing, it could be difficult. Also, while we're talking MLS, my Sporting Kansas City went to LA to take on the non-Zlatan team, LAFC, who hadn't lost a home game all season, and they beat them 2-0, so go on Kansas City, make them taste the rainbow. Oh, and I have to mention the most epic play that I have seen in a while, and it was by Wayne Rooney, because his team, DC United, was tied 2-2 at home against Orlando City. It was in injury time, and DC's goalkeeper came up for the corner, which what the is he doing? I have no idea why he's trying to win it there. But whatever. The play breaks the other way, and Orlando is countering with no goalkeeper in DC's goal, and Rooney sprints back. He makes an insane tackle to win the ball back. Then he dribbles up about 10 yards before pinging a 50-yard ball to the back post, where the smallest guy on the field, Luciano Acosta, heads it in to complete his hat trick and give DC the 3-2 win. And it was the wildest shit, and you need to see it, so I'll put the link in the description. It is ridiculous. Good weekend, bad weekend. Paul Pogba. The good? The World Cup winner was named captain of Manchester United ahead of their first game of the season against Leicester City. Then he scored a penalty a few minutes into the game, and he was solid throughout, and maybe even the best player on the field, which helped United win 2-1 and get a huge 3 points to start the season off on the right foot. The bad? After the game, Pogba said, "If you're not happy, you cannot give your best." And then he added, "There are things I cannot say, otherwise I will get fined." I mean, what? There's just way too much behind-the-scenes bullshit going on with United right now, so we're gonna have to continue to watch how this impacts the team moving forward, because I don't see this current situation ending well. Good weekend, Cristiano Ronaldo. Juventus' new main man scored a goal 8 minutes into his first ever appearance for the club, and yes, I know it was only against Juve's U20 team, but still, if he hadn't scored, all of the critics and Messi lovers would have been like, Ronaldo can't even score against Juve's U20s. And then all the Ronaldo lovers would have to come out to defend him and all the trophies he's won and everything that he's done and accomplished. And then we would fall back into the never-ending Messi versus Ronaldo war about who is better. And doesn't that just get exhausting for everybody? Bad weekend, Monterrey. After winning their first 3 games of the new Liga MX season, they went into Mexico City to take on Club America at Estadio Azteca, and they went down a man and a goal after 30 minutes, ultimately losing 3-0, which dropped them to 5th, behind Cruz Azul, Pumas, America, and Santos Laguna, which has earned them a big fat no mames way. Good weekend, Boca Juniors. My favorite club in Argentina started off the new season in style with a very professional 1-0 win over Talleres, with 22-year-old Argentine international Cristiano Ronaldo getting the game winner, so all looks good for them to repeat as champions, especially since their hated rivals River Plate drew 0-0. Way to go, River. You suck. Bad weekend, Ajax. Because they needed an 88th minute goal by one of their center backs to draw 1-1 at home against Heracles in the opening game of the Eredivisie, which means they've already dropped 2 points behind the reigning champions PSV Eindhoven, and those could be 2 decisive points, so that was embarrassing to drop it at home. What are you guys doing? Good weekend, Jorginho and N'Golo Kante. Because my new favorite midfield tandem in the world not only did the business on defense like we expect from them, but they also both chipped in with a goal each in Chelsea's comprehensive 3-0 win on the road versus Huddersfield and new Chelsea manager Maurizio Sarri's first league game for the club, which I am so glad now after seeing them play that I predicted that Chelsea will get in the top 4 because I think they're going to be legit this season. And all right, that is it. That is all I got. So thank you for watching as always. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button so I can brag to all my YouTube friends about how many likes I got on this video. And I will see you tomorrow for my Serie A preview. Later.